can't believe I've owned this car for a whole year. Back in May of 2024, I purchased this car off Carvana, and I think it might be one of the best decisions I ever made. I'd say probably around last February I paid off the car. I paid off my previous car, I'm sorry, my STI that I owned. And ever since then I was looking for an Audi to buy. I really wanted to get an Audi. My brother had the B8.5 S4, and I was just looking into RS3s because I really wanted a 5-cylinder, specifically the Daza motor. And I started looking for RS3s on Car Gurus. There was, you know, some for sale. There was one available that I went to go see, and then funny enough sold the second I got there. But in the end, I really wanted to have a TTRS. There were some subtle differences between the two that made me decide on getting this car. I fast forward about a month later, and there was one for sale, specifically this one on Carvana. And I know all the horror stories with Carvana, the whole process of getting this car, and all the YouTube videos I watched of people's experience and reviews purchasing from Carvana. So I was definitely nervous buying a car that I basically didn't see, didn't drive or anything before buying it. And so it was definitely nerve-wracking, but by far one of the best purchases I've ever made. I purchased the car back in May. It's got 9,000 miles on it, and I paid a little under $60,000 for it. I thought it was a really good deal at first. I still think it is a really good deal, specifically what they're priced for nowadays, but I really like the fact that it had 9,000 miles on it. Made me believe that, like, you know, if it's on Carvana and it has low mileage, then you know, what can be wrong with it? You know, like, it's got to be in good condition, right? It's basically almost new. So I bit the bullet. I purchased the car, picked it up, and it was just flawless. Not a single defect on the paint. Carvana, like, for originally their defects that they listed on the car was in the front. There was this little like 3M tape design right underneath the front lip here. There was like this little, then it had the clear coat plastic was like peeling off, so they considered that a defect. I peeled it off the first day that I bought the car. That was basically it as the only defect. So any scratches or swirls that are now on the car was done by me. Over a year of ownership, I know there's one major one right here that has a I'm not sure if the GoPro can pick it up very well, but a scratch right there. But yeah, after a year of ownership, I absolutely love it. And the paint's still in fabulous condition. There is some swirl marks, but I'll get it PPF'd. This is an aftermarket gas cap, in which it's starting to peel a little bit, the black on it. So if you were to buy a TTRS and it has like the OEM silver one on, you're obviously not going to have any problems. But yeah, other than that, the outside's pretty dang good. It's held itself through for an entire year, and hopefully many more. And then we do have plans to get it a full ceramic coating come August, before one of the biggest car events that me and my brother like going to down in Connecticut. But yeah, we'll just go over a couple of things that I've noticed over the year of ownership, and we'll get right into the pros and cons of it. All right, something I'll never get over is the RS start. That little pops it makes every single time you start the car. I will say in some situations in the middle of the night when it is quiet, having a loud exhaust in a neighborhood area when it's like 11:30, you know, even midnight, kind of rude, but there's no way to turn off RS start, so you kind of just have to live with it. So far I haven't had anyone get mad at me, but yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite things I love about the car. The car currently does have 27,927 miles, and it's been the best 20,000 miles I've ever driven of a car. Like I said, I had 2 STIs before this, and the 2 STIs that I've had, I mean, obviously they were fun. I drove about, like, I'd say 35,000 miles in my first STI, and about 15 or 20 in my second STI, and they were fun, but they were over like a long course of time. I had the first STI for 2 years, second STI for 1.5 years, and I've almost got just as many miles on this car, and basically just a year of ownership. So I've definitely put a lot on it. As far as like maintenance goes, I haven't really spent too much on it. Obviously the car's got low miles on it, so there isn't really too much to expect. I've done about, I think, 5 or 6 oil changes so far on the car. That can be pretty pricey. Let me put the windows up so you guys can hear me a little bit better. But yeah, so that can be a little bit pricey. Comparing to my Subaru, which only cost me like 40 bucks for oil and a filter. Getting a whole kit for this car is, what is it, like $108 I think it cost. Yeah, for the whole kit. So the oil changes are already priced. You can already see the RS tax get involved there. It will be coming up soon for the whole Haldex maintenance that's recommended to do every 40,000 miles. I may plan on doing that every 30,000 miles just because the car is tuned, which I'll get into in itself as an own separate section of the video. So as far as maintenance costs, I haven't really done much. If you are planning on buying an RS3 or a TTRS with higher mileage, you can obviously expect some things to go bad at some point. I know that on Audis, the water pump is one of the frequent things to go. So that's just something as well to keep in mind. I do not know a current quote on it as far as how much it costs for Haldex service or anything like that, but I could assume that it's probably pretty pricey. Just get a nice pull really quick. So we can go straight into the tuning aspect of it. I haven't had it tuned for a whole year, but I did have it, I tuned it in December, so I've got about 7 months or so of it on the tune. Again, it's been great. One thing I was actually like kind of worried about when it came to the tune was how it's going to affect the fuel economy, with it being my daily driver and me putting a lot of miles on it. And it's honestly been like not really any change. Kind of a better fuel economy when it comes to highway driving. I'd say beforehand I would get like the best I could possibly get on a highway drive is 27,000 miles. Or not 27,000 miles, 27 miles per gallon. But with tuning it, I think I've actually gotten up to almost 31 when highway driving. So the fact that you can get 31 miles per gallon out of this car, you know, a car that makes almost 500 horsepower to the crank tuned, and you know, my old STI, I think the best I've ever gone on it was like 23 on the highway. So obviously that was port injection, and this is direct injection as well. So no, I'm not surprised, but it's definitely one of the cool features about the car, and something that sets apart from other cars that you can buy around this price range. One thing to keep in mind with this car, especially if you get an aftermarket exhaust on it, is going to be the drone. I had, at least when I first put this car, an exhaust on this car, I had the AWE track, which was just drone. It was just all drone, no matter what. Like, if you had the windows up, you would probably get a headache after like maybe 10 to 15 minutes of driving. I switched it out for a switch path, which made it a little bit better for when the valves are open. Obviously much better when the valves are closed, but if you're still in the like 2,500 to 3,000 range in this car, the drone can get a little annoying after a period of time. So that's obviously another thing to keep in mind. If you plan on keeping the car with the stock exhaust, you won't have any issues. With the valves open, there's zero drone whatsoever, and it is still pretty tony. So you can always keep the stock exhaust on, but I really wanted to modify this car and kind of open up the 5-cylinder noise. So I figured, why not get an exhaust for it? So I guess we can talk into the mods aspect of it, because I mean I would assume that a lot of people who plan on purchasing an RS3 or a TTRS do want to put mods on it. There isn't really much done to the engine or any mods like that. The car is lowered on Bilstein coilovers, which basically ride exactly like stock. And I'm saying that, not saying that in a way that like the Bilsteins, you know, ride soft. They do ride a little bit stiff, but so does the stock suspension. So keep in mind that If you do buy this car, even from the factory stock, the suspension's pretty stiff. That's kind of what you expect from buying a sports car. And another thing to keep in mind when you actually are modding the car is, which Audi does this with all their cars, so no matter what Audi you buy, you're probably going to run into it. But Audi loves to have sensors for everything. So I not tuned the car. I put the car on coilovers, and you have to buy a whole kit for it. You have to spend an extra $250 on top of the $2,200 that it costs for a set of coilovers, just to coat out the mag ride coating on the car. So let me just get around this guy really quick. So that's another thing you got to keep in mind. Same thing with the exhaust. I mean, most exhausts are going to give you a kit with the exhaust, but with AWE, they give you basically a valve delete kit with the AWE track so that you don't get the codes. So yeah, there's one thing to keep in mind is that you're going to throw a lot of codes when modifying the car, because there seems to be a sensor for literally absolutely everything. So that's another thing to keep in mind. But overall, it's a great daily driver. A full tank gets you about 370 miles, which, I mean, for a 12-gallon tank, it's pretty good. You know, if you were looking for more something where, you know, you don't want to fuel up as often, then the TTRS and the Audi RS3 are probably not your car to go to. You want to probably look towards like a A6 S6 or you know, higher. They have like larger fuel tanks, so you could probably get 400 or more on those.
Yeah, but the gas mileage on those are trash.
Well, yeah, if you get
turbo V8.
Yeah, but for an S6, sure, but like I've seen like, or not even that. Maybe
if you want gas mileage, just get an A4 or an A3.
I guess yeah, that's true, but like I know that like you can definitely get good gas mileage out of the A6, right?
I mean, it's gonna be the same as the S4, just if you don't tune it.
What's even in the A6 3.0T?
This car has phenomenal gas mileage for being a tuned sports car compared to all the other RS cars.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things about the car is how good it gets. Like, I think the reason why I love it so much is because coming from an STI and the whole port injection, and you know, for a 4-cylinder, the best I could get was like 22 miles per gallon. But you know, daily driving this around and having the you know, I mean, even driving in the city, even stepping on it, you know, here and there, I still get like 19, 20, 21, which is just vastly impressive compared to owning a Subaru. So that's definitely one of my favorite things about it. Another thing I'd say is really good about it is the instant torque, or just like the ability to get up to speed really fast. Like, you just like downshift one gear, and you know, you're already going well over the speed limit. So it's a really fun car. You know, it makes all the noises that you really want it to make. You buy an intake and you'll even get all the turbo noises. The transmission itself is great. It's the transmission that's out of the Golf R, the DQ500. When you're stepping on it, the shifts are instant. When you're downshifting, the shifts are instant. So it shifts immediately. When you're cruising around at like low speeds, I will say that it'll lag, or like, for example, I could just drive like this and I'll click it. You'll see that it'll shift gears, but then there's just a delay before it actually shifts. So that can get annoying at times, especially if you are like just cruising around or trying to get up to speed. If you're not actually like putting a little bit of gas into it, you have to put a little bit of gas and then it'll shift instantly. So you can play around with it, and it'll obviously, you know, it's not that big of a deal, but it's something to keep in mind. One thing I will say I hate about this car, and even after tuning it I still hate it, is just driving in the standard D mode. It shifts at like 1900 RPMs, and it makes it so miserable to drive or even get up to speed, because you can like step on it and you could like, it can be like, even on the torque gauge, you can be at like 40% torque, and very nice. like 40% torque, and the car will still shift at like 1900 RPMs. So I can show an example when I get down the street a little bit more, but when cruising, obviously it's not that bad. But when if you plan on driving around the city, you're better off just driving in sport mode or in manual mode, because driving in the D mode, for me personally, my opinion is it's miserable to drive around in it. But yeah, hopefully there's kind of some space now.